All right, welcome back for the last little step, last but certainly not least, and that is that we want to deploy our work to the world. Also, sometimes when I deploy, I use it as an opportunity to do an ng lint. So I guess I kind of been dreading ng lint, but I suppose I should, just to kind of get in the habit of doing it. And you can see that really the only thing it's got is it's got a bunch of double quotes that should be single quotes. And you know what, that's fine. I'll knock them out, then I'll have fewer errors that I have to worry about. So it was complaining about my environments, both the prod and the dev, and literally just was complaining about these things. So what I do is I hit Control F, just because I can't remember what replaces, and then I hit the down arrow, and I do this. I can quickly glance and see that all those are fine, so I'm just going to do a replace all on those guys. Same thing on the dev environment, replace all on those guys. Now where you will have to be a little bit more careful is in your TypeScript, just to make sure there's not a situation where you were doing a single or double intentionally, right? So all those seem fine. See, here would be one. So it says like, I'll be back. So if we were to change this double to a single, that would actually be a bad thing. So I don't know. I'm interested, but not that interested to see how the IDE like warns you about things like that. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire away and do them all, and then I'm going to put back those ones right that are problems. Now there is another trick you can use, and that is backtick, which is a different character. So there's single quote, there's double quote. Hate it when IDEs automatically type double quotes for me. What is with that? That just drives me insane. So here's a time where I think double quotes would be appropriate. But what you could also do is you could also put backtick. So backtick is just to the left of the one button on most keyboards. And backtick is kind of the new and improved, like I can do everything, in that you can have double quotes in there, you can have single quotes in there, you can have line breaks in there, you can do string interpolation, which is exciting. And we'll use that more. But I'll tell you what, I'll put one in with backticks and one in with double quotes, and I'll see if my linter yells at me still. It probably still going to yell at me about the double quotes. Hey, look at that. That is a smart tool. So check this out. So I put in double quotes there, didn't complain about me because I had single quotes inside of it. Way to go, software developers. All right, passed all my linting test. Going to check that in as an ng lint improvements. Wasn't as bad as I thought. Next thing I want to do is I want to compare it or prepare it for deployment. You can do these steps in either order, but you need to do an ng build, and you also need to do a Firebase init. I think last time I did the ng build first, so this time I'll switch it. I'll do Firebase init. So Firebase says, hey, what do you want? Do you want Firebase database rules? By the way, I think it's funny that this is called database because really it's rules, right? So it's weird that they, I mean, it seems like they should at least say database rules because it has nothing to do with just database values. It has to do with the rules. Functions, fun thing, not something we're doing yet. Hosting is what we really want. Next, you'll have to pick your app. So you've probably got very few apps. I have way too many apps. And I'm going to find movie quotes right there. Perfect. What folder do you want as your public directory? When you're using Angular 2 with the Angular CLI, the folder is called dist. Do you want it to be a single page web app? You betcha. That's how Angular works. Notice this time it didn't ask me about writing an index.html. It actually made it for me. So it made a dist folder for you and put an index.html in there, which is funny. Like, what's in there? I'm curious. So I'm going to have to go find out. All right, here's the index.html that it put into the dist file. I'm going to open it with just some other tool just so I can see it. Woo, yeah, put a lot of Firebase-y things in there. I'm sure that is useful. Oh well. Fine, let's see what it is. So if I double click on it to open it in a browser, it says Firebase hosting setup complete, opening the hosting documentation. That's exciting. Not at all useful, but exciting. Let's do it right. So the way we do it right is we come over here and we type ng build -prod. What prod is going to do is it's going to put all the right files into your disk folder. So you can see as soon as it's done, it says that it's done, and it makes this disk folder, and it's got all the actual things in there. Now that your init is set up, oh, by the way, whenever I do an init, it creates a couple files that I like to get checked in. So this is just my Firebase init. And then I need to actually do a Firebase deploy. And when I do a Firebase deploy, it actually pushes it to my website, which is cool that they do hosting for you. It tells you the URL right here, so you can copy it. Mine has this crazy number in it. That's just because it's an old app that got updated. Yours will not have a crazy number in it. And so it looks like mine did an Ionic thing. I know why it did that. It's because of a service worker that I have going on my Ionic app. Yours won't do that. Yours will instead look like this. So I had to hold down Shift and do a return there just to get rid of my service worker's help, which I do not appreciate. So I need an Everything is Awesome from the Lego Movie. And when I add it, it gets added there and everything is good. I also like to look to see, it's like, hey, you know, what does my app look like on mobile? So like, what does it look like on a Nexus 5? And so you can see it doesn't look terrible. I'll make it kind of fit the window a little bit better there. You know, it could look better. So I'll put in an I'll be back from the Terminator. Pick any movie in the Terminator series. Edit. It works fine. So I'll say Terminator 2 there. And then I'll make just kind of a garbage one just so I can delete it. And everything works great. If you're taking the class for credit, copy your URL and put it onto the URL submission spreadsheet. That's how I grade your work. If you're just doing the stuff for fun, then you're done. The last thing I want to say in this video is that you've also got a lab after this. So I'll put the link above this video on the rosebotics.org site. And the lab is the Photo Bucket No Auth Lab. So it's called the No Auth Lab because we're going to do it again later with auth. So this is the no auth version. You can see an example of it at fisherds-photo-bucket. I should have put in no auth into the URL here, but I didn't. And you can see that what it does, and I kind of did this demo before, is that it lets you add images. So if you go find an image, has to be an existing image. What do I feel like looking for today? I'll search for ducks. I don't know why. So if you go over to images on ducks, you can find yourself a good looking duck and you can copy his image and I can paste it. Oops, that's the wrong one. Paste it into the image URL and then I'll just make the title be duck and I'll hit submit and you can see that it submits the duck right there. There's some CSS that does kind of this layout that's going to be given for you, so you'll see what that is. You can edit it, so you can say duck. The whole world shares the same data. You can delete things. I'm going to delete this. Some of these I don't really like. I like my squirrels, but I don't really like these lightnings anymore. So the lightning's gone, the car is gone. Lightning bolt, I'll leave that one. Good enough. So delete works, edit works. Another hidden feature that you're going to have to do, and I'm just going to have to demo this one for you, is it describes this in the app, but if you go into your database and you modify the title, it'll change it up here. So like right here where it says Fisher Photos, let's just make it say Photo Bucket Photos, and I hit enter, you can see that it changed the title right there. That is because this lab is from two follow alongs. It's a follow along from Favorite Things and it's a follow along from Movie Quotes. But all this stuff in here is just movie quotes. So I added this little top thing just to make sure you could do a standard Firebase SDK as well, right alongside your Angular Fire 2. So this whole bottom area, I expect you to implement it with Angular Fire 2, the stuff like we did in movie quotes. And this top area, I expect you to implement that with the standard Firebase SDK like we did from Favorite Things. All right, that is the lab. There will be a due date on the calendar. You're going to do just like we did in the follow along. You're going to develop it. You're going to use a version control system so that you've got all your code backed up. And then you're going to deploy it. And then you're going to send me the URL, and that's how you're going to get checked off. All right, that is the end of this unit. We've done some cool things in the two follow alongs we've got. and we will see you next time. All right, bye.